Hello, I've seen several videos online showing how home machines can sew leather. However, they've all cost somewhere in between, I don't know, $4,000 to $8,000. And I mean, I would think that something that costs that much would sew leather, but I wanted to show you how the Baby Lock entry-level machine, the lowest end machine they make, the BL9, can also sew leather. Now I'm going to sew a medium weight leather. I wouldn't want to put real thick leather in it, but a medium weight or even a pleather should work fine in it. So the main thing is to use a leather needle, which I'll show you, and let's get on with the demonstration real quickly here. So let me get the camera set up so I can show you up close what's going on. Okay, I've got the Baby Lock set up. Let me go through a few of the details for you. For sewing on a home machine, sewing leather, and again, we're not doing fake leather or pleather, we're using real leather. Here's the needle that we're going to use. It's a Smets. It's a 9014, and I picked this up at Joann Fabric for a home machine. And so we're going to use that to go through and sew. One of the things I use to hold leather together is wonderful. These are called Wonder Clips. They're very lightweight. They're strong, but they're very lightweight. They work good on fabric too. So if you haven't seen these, have a look at Wonder Clips. I think they come 50 in a container, and they work very well for leather. You can't use needles in pleather or leather because it leaves marks. So have a look at those. Some of the details on the way the machine is set up. I've got a walking foot on here. The thread I'm using is what I use for jeans. This is a medium weight cotton thread with a polyester wrap on it. Let's see, when it came to the bobbin, the lower bobbin, I had to loosen it by 1/8 of a turn because the thread was thicker, and the top bobbin on this particular machine, the tension is all the way to 9. It goes from 0 to 9. So if you get on your machine and have to really tighten it up, don't be alarmed. Stitch length is at 4, and I'm using a straight stitch, and so I think that gives you all the details of the machine. Now, when you sew leather on this particular machine, I know that it pulls like this when it's trying to feed through the feed dogs. Your machine may be different. You're going to have to figure out what your machine does. One of the things that I know helps is holding tension on the leather when it's feeding. It helps it keep straight. One of the things I do on leather, and it's nice, you can draw a line, a guide line on it, and put that right down the center of the walking foot, and you'll get a good straight stitch. So don't be afraid to draw on it. Do whatever you need to do to get a good straight stitch. Because it's going to be on the inside, like on this is going to be a handbag, and there'll be lining in it, so you won't see it. So mark it up if you have to, whatever you have to do. It's important to get a stitch straight on leather because it shows often, and it's very important, so do whatever you need to. Alright, here we go. I'm going to do my first 2 by hand to get it started. And I may have to help it get started because I'm going to have to sew fairly slow here, so let's go ahead and get the first clip out so we can get going. Yeah, see, it's kind of struggling to get it up out of there and get going, but once it gets going, it'll be okay. And you can hear it's a little bit louder and it struggles a little bit more than what it does with fabric, and I'll explain that in a minute. And if you have to, don't be afraid to walk it by hand to keep your seam nice and straight on your line. Whatever you need to do to keep it straight. And because the stitch length is so long, you get through a seam fairly quickly by doing it by hand. So let's go ahead and get started again. Struggle, just have to get started again. As we come down to the end, I'm going to just go very slowly and stay on the line so it doesn't take off on me. You've got 2 things going against you when you sew this stuff. First is the stitch length, so it can really get away from you at the end, and second is the leather trying to keep it straight. So do whatever you need to do. I want to bring it back a little bit since it's trying to walk past the end on the stitch and get it right on the end. There we go. Okay, one of the things I do on leather, and I'm not going to take the time to do it here, but I leave a long stitch at the end. I will come back and I will feed this one through with a needle if it's going to be something that shows on the outside, and I will tie these off because I haven't back stitched. So I'm not going to do that now to save time, but I'll take these clips off. I'll show you the seams. Okay, there's our seam. It's fairly straight. I wondered just slightly off right there, it looks like, but overall you can see the tension looks good. It's a nice sturdy stitch, and let's turn it on the outside and look at it. There's your seam from the outside, so it's nice and sturdy. It will look good. Let's see here. Okay. One of the things you need to be aware of on these home machines, they're not really designed for this heavyweight fabric, and depending on the size motor in it, it may wear the motor out sooner when you're sewing leather. I'd say you're safe if you're going to sew a few handbags a year, 5 or 10 or something like that. You're probably fairly safe. If you're going to be doing it more than that, I'd invest in an industrial machine. They have half horsepower motors and above in them, and they can plow through this without any problem at all. So anyway, this is to show you that basically an entry-level $200 machine with the right needle, right settings, and a little bit of help can sew leather without any problem at all. Again, I would expect something that costs $4,000 or $5,000 to $8,000 to sew it. They have bigger motors, and I would think if you spent that kind of money on one of those machines, they should sew leather without any problem at all. So this is kind of a response to those videos to show you guys that have the entry-level machines that you can do it too. So hopefully this helped you out. Take care.